All right. The sanding is complete. Isn't it lovely? Pretty smooth. Maybe not smoother than a baby's bottom, but at least as smooth as my cellulite arse. All right. So I wiped it down with a towel and just letting that dry. There's some places I definitely could do more, but could do and will do are two different things. All right, let's talk about what I did there. Now, just keep in mind, this is not any sort of tutorial for anyone. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go, and I'm a pretty lackadaisical DIYer. DIY. DIY. DIY isn't even alphabetical, and I say it all the time. And I think I'm going to stick with it. I think I'm just going to call myself the amateur DIYer, and DIY to me stands for do-it-yourself idiot. There we go. So anyway, what did I use to sand all that beautiful mud? Well, I got this thing. I forget what it's called. Hand sander or something. Large. And then I seem to recall when I was at the store looking for sandpaper that I needed 200 grit and 600 grit. And you may notice I have none of those. Yeah. Because while I was standing there staring, nope, that boss man, she is on me today. I realized that they did not have any 200 grit or 600 grit. And so I got the next best thing, which was 220. Close enough. That extra 20 ain't gonna hurt nothing. And then an 800. Now, 800. Why you say 800? Why didn't you go with 400? Why didn't you go lower instead of higher? Well, I got some 400 too. So there. Na clack clack. But I went with 800 because my way of thinking, 6 and 8, they are good friends. Good friends. Joined by a mutual fear and admiration for 7. That's right. Why 7? Why the fear and admiration? That man invented the resting bitch face. Just picture number 7 in your head. Look at that brow line. Look at that brow ridge. He's got a permanent scowl on top of a very skinny body. 7. And yet, he is the most popular number. You know why? Because he's intimidating as fuck. So anyway, I went with 800. So what did I use on this wall? Tequila. I started with a 60. That worked for the big stuff. And then I thought, if I keep using this 60, there will be no mud left on this wall. And so I switched to the 220. And in some spots, I did get in there with the edge of that thing, with that tool and that sandpaper, and I just sanded the shit out of it. And I still got some areas that could probably use more sanding, but like I said, you know what? It's plaster I'm putting on the wall, right? It's not like some super thin paint. I'm not stretching spandex yoga pants out on this wall. So I figure, the plaster will help. Another thing I want to point out to you, there are a few things that just, I don't know. What does it say on there to you? I see dust control. And this is joint compound, by the way. And now look over here. What do you see? A shit ton of dust. There is dust for ages. Clementine does not approve. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the non-dust control stuff would have done. Another thing. We need to talk about these masks. Look at this mad bastard. Well, it did a really good job of keeping dust out of my lungs. But this thing is so tight. Like, I didn't even bend that. It was already like that. This thing is so tight. At one point, I had it on. Okay, I got a ponytail back there. Right. I had it on, and I did not hook both of these yellow things on top of my ponytail. And the lower one started pulling it down on my face. But the coverage did not change. So what I'm saying here is, instead of a face lift, I got the opposite, which would be a face drop. Something like that, face droop, I don't know. And I was thinking to myself, as I'm struggling to breathe in this horrid thing with my big beak of a nose touching the inside of it, just don't worry, there's nothing gross that you can see. Just touching the inside of that, I started thinking to myself, I bought this at Home Depot. Who goes to Home Depot? I'll tell you who. Very large men with work-roughened hands who wear Carhartts to bed. That's who goes to Home Depot. How the dust control joint compound are those men fitting this onto their faces? And then it occurred to me, that's why they have beards. Because their faces slid right off, and you can't even tell through the beard. That's what's up.